You are watching a Fact TV presentation of the town of Swanzey.
And I believe the last minutes that we had were from April, because the meeting in May got canceled. Anyone want to make a motion on those?
I'm not sure I was here for those. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the April meeting minutes. April 20th meeting minutes.
and I will second.
Okay.
I was here. You were here. It's 2 months ago.
All in favor of approving the minutes then?
I've got one comment
Oh.
on it,
Yeah, go ahead.
and I'm
Thank you.
not sure I'm going to be able to find it quickly, but in the conversation with Eversource regarding their communication or their linking with the Rail Trail Committee, I think you had, the note showed Jay as making a recommendation that they should coordinate, and it was me.
Mhm.
But I apologize, I can't find it quickly.
Oh.
I guess it's on page 3. It starts on 3.
There's a mention
Okay.
on page 2, that big paragraph.
What's that?
Page 2 of the, it's page 3 in the packet, but page 2 of the minutes. Is what you're saying, Sue?
It says, Jay asked if they are working with the Swanzey Rail Trail Committee.
Right, that's not,
That was
that was
you?
me, not you.
Okay.
So that's on mine, it's page 3. What? You found that?
I could have asked that question, but if Joe asked it, then he should be put in there.
And that's the only thing I had.
Okay. Good catch then.
Will you accept that amendment, Wayne?
Yep.
Then I will second it.
Okay. So with that being done,
Did we vote on it?
Haven't voted on it yet.
so all in favor of accepting the amendment to the meeting notes of April
Aye.
20th?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm also, the motion was actually to approve the meeting notes as amended, but,
Yes.
okay.
And you had asked if we're gonna, do we need to make minutes about canceling the May meeting? Is that,
I just posted that it was canceled.
you posted that it was canceled, so we don't have to make any note of that. Okay, and we're not having a public hearing today?
No public hearings.
No public hearing today. We're gonna review our rules of procedure and a follow-up discussion of the zoning ordinance, but I think first that we're gonna talk about Kyle Croto, who came, you put in an application, you'd like to be appointed as a,
Do you technically do a roll call?
what would his role be?
Oh, can we do a quick roll call? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Roll call.
Alan Mulhern, Adam Mulhern, Ann Karazinski,
Here.
Jay Ward,
Here?
Wayne Leckleader,
Here.
Joe Parisi,
Here.
Peter Delaney, Jessica Ramsey Sanchez.
So it'd be an alternate because there's no vacancy.
Right, so you would be an alternate? Is there anything we need to talk about, or do you have any questions? Is something you're still committed to doing?
What why do you want to be on the board?
If you could move up here, please, Kyle, that'd be great. Thank you, sir.
Seemed like you guys looking for members and.
We're looking for people
Try to
who
give
want to
back, I guess.
be involved in it. What attracts you to zoning, is what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Aha. You'll find out.
You'll find out.
Yep.
Well, welcome, I mean, we're glad to have you, and it's just a matter of, yeah, you can learn a lot as an alternate, and then gradually, you may end up sitting on a board, because, tonight, if we'd had an alternate here, tonight, that person would have been seated as the 5th member of the group, so,
It does happen quite often for zoning board, too.
yeah. So, Adam will give you a copy of the zoning ordinance once the select board approves you, and then you can study it all and know it better than we do.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So, and I would welcome you as well, because we need young people to come and participate, most importantly. And if you find that, I would definitely recommend attending some of the other meetings too, with the planning board.
I watch most of them on YouTube.
Oh, you do?
Just
Okay.
follow them on there,
And
yeah.
it just gives you an opportunity to see what you think your niche is. And if you find yourself leaning more towards, if you have a technical mind and you're more, might be something, that you might sway towards, but, would there be any motions then?
Yeah, actually, the zoning board votes to appoint him.
I move that we, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Kyle
Kyle Croto.
Kyle Grove?
Croto.
Croto.
Croto, oh, Kyle Croto, yes, certainly. I move that we accept Kyle Croto's application as a alternate for the zoning board.
Second, that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Kyle. So, as I understand it, your name will come to the select board as a potential candidate, and the select board most likely will say yes.
I don't think the select board doesn't see it.
So we
All
don't,
alternates get appointed by the select board,
Not according to our rules of procedure for zoning board.
for the zoning board. Okay, I thought it was true for all the town committees.
No, planning board and zoning board stay within the boards.
Oh, well, that's good to know then. You don't have to do that.
is he gonna need to be sworn in?
Yep, so at your earliest convenience, if you want to go to town hall, either Heather or Amanda at the town clerk's office can swear you in. And then once you have your oath filed, you'll be an alternate member. And yeah.
Our next meeting,
I'll start sending you all communications that I sent to the zoning board. And if you have any questions, just come see me, okay?
Perfect.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
And-
Thank you, Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, before you go, I want to give you something else to think about. When I was first joined the board, I was given the opportunity to have a town email address and a login so I could go and do it. I never did, but I don't know, is that something that's still offered?
I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
Not since I've been here. I can
Okay.
follow up and see.
I just thought I'd throw it out there because there have been some instances where boards, sometimes the public gets upset with decisions that we make, and there have been some, legal proceedings, and, any communications via email, you just want to, be very careful with. But if it is an option, it's something to think about.
Yeah, there will be some ample training opportunities. So.
yeah, and do take advantage of them. They're very helpful. And what Ann said, don't respond to anybody on email
Yeah, please don't.
Don't respond. And
or on Facebook.
yeah, stay off of Facebook for,
I don't respond to anybody on any of that stuff.
Yeah,
Good.
that's my man.
well, we hear you. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Perfect.
I
Thank you.
really appreciate your time.
Thanks,
and your
Kyle.
commitment to the town.
And please feel free to stick around. Yeah, you know what?
Okay.
Oh, there's nothing for
Adams and, if your
Your rules of procedure. you want
rules
to
and
tee it up?
procedures, so this would be for you to review.
Oh, yeah,
with
I mean,
us.
I'm presenting it, but it's ultimately the board's.
Yep.
So the board has expressed interest on updating rules of procedure, mainly looking at it annually to see if there's any way we can improve So I had suggested some edits. Joe has some nice suggestions that I'm hoping you'll talk about when we get to the sections. And I'm hoping you all read over the rules and have your own suggestions. So if you want me to start at my first suggested edit, and then if anybody has anything to add, they can jump in. If somebody else wants to take the lead, that's fine too. However you guys want to do it.
No, I think that'll be fine. I do have a comment I want to get off my chest right away.
Comment, yes.
And that is the flow chart that you
Oh, yeah.
have made. I have 4 different versions of it, and none of them are labeled.
Oh, it's
So
not labeled? Okay.
If you could, like whichever version you think is
The most recent one.
is the most recent one, if at the next meeting you could give it a
I see.
number
Yeah.
Or date it.
or date it,
Yep.
so that, yeah,
I guess I just didn't think about labeling it.
it's okay, it's just that I don't know which one.
No, you're right. It does need to be dated and labeled. So I will have that dated and labeled.
That way I can not carry around 3 versions.
Yeah, the most recent version is the best version because it's taking into account some comments from a couple meetings ago.
Good.
So I will date it and label it and hopefully be done with it for a bit, unless there's another issue that comes up.
Okay.
So let's get into this. So these were last amended quite a while ago. And I do think revisiting these every year is a good idea. The planning board is going to start doing that with their rules. It's just good to stay on top of these things. I'm not suggesting any edits for officers. And if anybody has anything for any of these sections, I might fly through this. So please stop me if you have any questions or are suggesting your own edits.
Actually, going back to the first sentence, in my comment to you, are those still the relevant New Hampshire statutes?
Yes. Yes, they are.
And the date is correct too?
Annotated 1983. I'm going to flag it. I checked it. I thought it was correct. Let me flag it for review. We can't change anything tonight without a public hearing. So anything I highlight tonight, I'll make sure is correct before any public hearings. So
Adam, I think what Joe's talking about is that the date of 1983 sounds like there has to have been changes to the RSAs.
that's just what it's titled. 676-1 or :1. Yeah, I don't want to get too bogged down into RSA citations tonight, just because those are pretty tedious to verify, and I don't want to spend our meeting with me looking up RSAs.
Well, I did ask the question 3 months ago.
No, I know. I'm not. I only suggested my changes, so I'm hoping you have your changes ready. I can pull them up if you don't have them, but
I've got my changes
Can
in
you
front of me.
flag, can you flag the phrase annotated 1983 to be
Yeah,
sure that
I'm
that's
flagging it.
applicable? Flag it and look it up.
Yeah,
yeah, anything that's mentioned tonight, I'm going to highlight and make a note on and change if it needs to be changed. Yeah, I mean, it's still 1983. It's just that they were referencing the adoption date. So typically you'll see annotated 1983 as amended or something to that nature.
So it should say as amended.
Chapter 671:1 as amended, yeah, probably. So I highlighted it for,
Okay?
yep. Under officers, did anybody have notes under officers?
No.
Okay, moving right along to alternate members. Alternate members, number 1, does anybody have any suggestions or changes?
Well, I had the question that we just answered.
RSA citations?
No, when I was brought on as an alternate, I wasn't voted on by the zoning board. So I didn't know what the process was.
I think you were.
No, I wasn't.
I sort of remember you were.
No, I was discussed, but it was not voted on. And in the previous meeting, Delaney was. But again, if this is the process as written here, I'm fine.
It's the process. I'm going to pull up the minutes.
No, it's not important. I just want to make
That
sure.
doesn't apply right now, of course.
Yeah.
So I think we can move on, but it's important that we all remember that.
Yes.
We got to vote on the record.
No,
Number 2, anyone have any suggestions for number 2? And 3,
I just, before we move on, and I just want to get a clarity, because I joined the board at the beginning of the COVID outbreak shutdown. So I was on Zoom now, and our meetings are, I know they're being recorded, but is there participation from the public? Meaning, if I go to North Carolina for an extended period of time, can I attend remotely or not?
I think it's listed somewhere in our
Is that
rules
listed somewhere else?
procedure.
Because maybe I just,
Or it might be a policy somewhere else.
I don't believe it's our policy. I don't believe it's in our rules of procedure. I'm just wondering if,
It might have been in some town policies, I'm not so sure.
Is that the one where they couldn't be included in the quorum, but they could participate in the meeting?
I can remember somebody participating on Zoom and actually voting.
I voted, I mean, during the COVID we did, but,
During COVID.
all right, and we can skip that if we want to just, I just don't know if it needs to be in our procedure.
I believe they need to be present. I know that it was a different policy during COVID.
Right? Okay.
Adam, I think, isn't there some sort of state statute about present? Well, no, that's for the legislature.
Yeah, there is something. I don't know if this is in the planning board rules of procedure, but they won't take virtual participation as a voting member. Like they can make comments, but they can't vote virtually. I think it's the same for zoning board, but I don't know if we have it codified anywhere.
So maybe that's a question that maybe it should be codified.
Yeah.
That was one of my, that's the only question I really had, is whether,
Let me make a note under meetings.
thank you.
So, anything for alternate members, 3,
I had a comment on bullet point 5, that during a work session, alternates are able to make motions. Is that the way we behave?
work sessions. Yeah, if it's a work session, it's not a public hearing, so they're able to make motions and vote. If it's like a session like tonight, we would want alternates to participate.
And is that the way we behave?
If we had an alternate, they could make motions if we were not talking about a particular project or something we were reviewing. So if they want to say, for instance, amending these rules of procedure, if they want to vote on that or make a motion about that.
Okay.
Because I think that applies to them. I think that makes sense. It applies to them as well as it does to full
Okay.
members. But in terms of a board's action, it's the 5 of us, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I don't recall any time when we had a session like this when I was an alternate.
But it says not only work sessions, but non-application discussion.
Yeah, so when we're naming a chair at the beginning of the year and a vice chair, you're saying the alternate should participate in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just reading what our rules and procedures say.
I think I
And
don't
I'm
think that's
just
wrong.
asking, is that the way we behave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience in that. I think that.
I mean, do we feel that only the elected members should vote for chair and vice chair? Or do we feel that all the people of the board who are working with the board who might be called to sit on a project should be?
I would think everyone.
I would think
all the
everyone.
regular people that are seated.
We are much stronger if we let everybody participate.
Yeah.
Consensus?
We leave it the way it is, I think.
Historically, do you have any knowledge
I think with the makeup of the board, I think it's better to have alternates participate, just because it's easier to get people in seats that way.
Yeah, like if I'm an alternate and I keep coming to meetings and I'm not seated for a case, it's kind of, somebody could say that it's wasting their time. At least if they participate in the structure of the board, it gives them a feeling of ownership.
Yes.
Right. And this, of course, means that the alternate can move to adjourn the meeting.
Might be needed sometimes.
I'm making a joke, but yes, I mean, there are things the alternate can do.
Joe, historically, when you did this in Chesterfield, I think you said, historically, did the alternates participate?
The alternates are active participation, but not voting in anything.
Okay, even if it's a process meeting?
Correct. But again, I'm not trying to impose Chesterfield rules. I'm just asking the question, is that, if this is the way we behave, fine. I don't care. I don't have a bias one way or another. I'm just trying to clarify how we behave.
Yeah. I'm thinking back on when Keith was the chairperson. I voted as an alternate for him to be the chairperson.
Yeah. I think my memory is that the alternates, when I was an alternate, that I voted for those things. And I didn't vote for something that was a discussion of something, but I did participate in those discussions.
Yeah.
And isn't that addressed by number 4?
Yes, 4 and 5 together,
Yeah, I think it addresses it.
yeah. And to answer Joe's question, that's how we behave.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right, so if we go to 4, I'm suggesting an edit to 4. I crossed out everything that was there, and if you look in your packet, I don't know what page it is in your packet.
10 of 17.
So I am suggesting the new language. Alternate members may participate in discussions until the public hearing is closed. Once closed, alternates shall not make motions, second motions, or vote unless formally seated before a regular member. I think it just reads better.
I think it does too, and it's more accurate.
Comments?
Sounds good.
Anything for the rest of that section, 5 and 6? Okay. If we go to clerk,
Who's the clerk? Is that Susan?
yeah, I think in this context, yes. Clerk's
Every
John
place
Gable.
else we refer to as the recording secretary. Would it be clearer to do that here rather than refer to as the clerk?
I can make a note of it, yeah.
I think Joe's got spot on that.
Yeah, I think so too, actually, because I was thinking town clerk. I think as many of you probably were.
I was wondering how the town clerk dealt with this, but
Right. So that's a good recommendation. And noted.
yep.
Going to meetings, I have some substantial edits to the next section. Hopefully you guys can all see that on your packet. I know it's not colored on the packet, sorry about that. So meetings number 1, before I get into my suggestions, does anybody have any comments?
I see you removed the meeting time.
Accidentally, I didn't mean to do that. I noticed because I wanted to recommend, or not recommend, sorry. I wanted to suggest, again, moving that to 6. And I wanted to poll the group.
I don't know that we have enough.
We don't, no,
members
not.
here to-
No, we don't have nearly enough. I want a full board to discuss that, but
I think Adam and Travis occasionally.
I have been contacted by multiple applicants lamenting the 7 p.m. timeline. I also don't like the 7 p.m. timeline,
I
but
know you don't, and the town planners have never liked it, but we've changed it once and changed it back because it wasn't working for us, so.
yep. So I'll bring it up when we have a full board.
How does Kyle feel about this?
Kyle, what do you think?
Six would be fine. So,
7's fine also? Some of us like 7.
Yep. Hard with young kids, but maybe I'll have Stefan come to these instead.
Looks like you're not going to give up, Adam, because.
Nope, I'm talking about it every year. And yeah.
Can you change that to every month at 7 PM in Whitcomb Hall?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna uncross out 7. I was
My
meaning
youngest
to,
kid is 32.
replace that. So, proposing the new paragraph, regular Board of Adjustment meetings are held on the third Monday of every month at 7 PM at Wickham Hall, 17 Main Street, Swansea, New Hampshire, 03446, except in January and February, when the meeting will be held on the fourth Monday. My thought process behind this is that it gives applicants a bit more time during those periods. I think it's MLK, Junior Day, and February
School vacation week.
sometime. Yeah, President's Day, yeah. Also school vacation, though,
That's why I don't, I'm away on school vacation week.
Yeah.
We could just skip February altogether.
We could. So it was initially the second Monday, but I felt like that was a kind of a quick turnaround. I don't know. If you guys feel like the second Monday is better than the fourth, that's fine. Just let me know and I can change it back. And then I'm proposing to cross out everything from public notice to vice chair. The new sentence would read, public notice must be provided in accordance with RSA 91-A. If action is required before the next scheduled meeting, the chair or vice chair in their absence shall determine the necessity of a special meeting. Any comments?
I like the wording better. I agree with you.
All right. And moving on to 2. Keeping a little bit of it, quorum for all meetings of the board shall be 3 members, including alternates sitting in the place of members. I'm crossing out some language. I'm just going to read it how it would read, and then if anybody has any comments, speak up, please. RSA 674:33 3 states that the concurring vote of any 3 members of the board shall be necessary to take any action on any matter on which it is required to pass. For this reason, the board will make every effort to ensure that a full 5-member board is present for the consideration of any appeal. How do we feel about that?
Is that last sentence an addition from you, or was that already there?
It was already there.
I think it works better, so I don't think it changes anything.
No, it doesn't really. I didn't like the way it was. I don't like the way a lot of this is written, but I'm not proposing to change all of it.
Do you tell the applicants that when they come to the meeting, if there's only 3 members, they have the option to postpone?
If I know, they know.
If you know that?
Yep.
Let's say it's the beginning of the week and we just know that there's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
Before everybody comes here,
Hmm?
can we cancel a meeting or not really?
If it's a public hearing, I don't like.
Public hearing, we can't do it because we're going to make everybody come out because,
So
you know,
we just have that section A, the next section that we
yeah,
have to.
that's it. Okay. That's
So
fine.
it's a shame when everybody shows up for a particular meeting and we have to cancel it, but
I just, because some, I'm going to count myself since I'm elderly now, is that you got to haul yourself in here and make arrangements to be here, and then you find out the meeting got canceled, and you've just lost an hour and a half of your life, so.
that's why we need alternates.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
that's
so
why we need alternates, so. okay.
It's nice to still convene, just to continue the hearing. So
Right.
if they don't want to proceed with a less than 5-member board, the board would still need to continue the hearing to
So we'd
the.
open the hearing and then we'd continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And that just saves the work of renoticing.
Okay.
And that would incur more fees and all of that fun stuff.
Yep.
Okay, A, not changing anything. And again, if there are any comments, just let me know. B, not proposing any changes. C, not proposing any changes. 3, nothing. 3A, nothing. 4, ex parte communications.
Before you leave, 3.
Yes.
I had made a comment/question on 2B, and it's sort of the continuity of alternates. And what I had highlighted is, it currently says alternates appointed in the absence of a regular member and participate in the public hearing shall retain that seat of the regular member through the discussions and decisions. And it was sort of a common question that I had posed, which again, Adam, I think only you've seen, is does that extend to the next meeting? So if the item gets continued, does the alternate continue to sit in place of the regular member if that regular member then shows up? And I would advocate that they do because they've got continuity.
And I also would say that if this was a continued meeting, then they were the ones who were seated at the beginning of that meeting, and that wouldn't change when the meeting is reopened.
Yep, that's how I understand it.
I would agree. I think that's,
But we haven't always done that, I don't think, and that's, I'm a little
so
aware
you
of that.
think we should state it?
I think we should state it perhaps, that if, should be a sentence in here, if in the event that a meeting is continued, every effort should be made to keep the same members who were present for the beginning of the meeting than the second one. But it could be that somebody who was there the first meeting can't be there the second meeting, and then,
That happened within the last year because Jessica was seated for a case and it got continued, and Adam wanted to seat me as an alternate, and I suggested that he seat Jessica
Right.
because she had already participated.
right.
So,
And I think it makes sense, we should spell it out here, I think.
I'm highlighting it for clarification. I'm going to zhuzh it up a little bit, but it'll say something to the effect of if the meeting was continued, so the same members should be seated if possible.
continuity or something.
Yeah. So,
But I think it's also legally, if you were participating in, if you were seated first and you'd have to, the meeting's been open and you were seated for that meeting that was open, then I think you should be seated until that meeting is closed,
I think that's why it's in there.
I think.
I'll double check if there's an RSA citation.
Unless you can't be there, in which case somebody else has to be seated.
But again, that's not, I want to see us do that. And we haven't done that all the time. But more specific to me, in my history in Chesterfield, I've seen this not done to the detriment of the hearing.
So in some cases, somebody could manipulate that to remove a dissenting vote for a,
Yep, it's a good note. I have it in there. I'll try to write something before the next meeting.
I just wonder how you could get around the legality of if you've got a regular member that's here for the continuation.
could you check that with Cordell or something? Because that,
I'm hesitant to. I'm trying
Okay.
not to use him very much.
all right. All I'm saying is, Adam's right. I mean, Wayne is right. There could be, Adam, a potential, if somebody's an elected member, then the public expects the elected member to be sitting and making decisions. In the event that it's a quick continuation, like there wasn't enough board here,
Yeah.
Or it was
that
late
seems
at
like a
night?
different
It is.
situation.
Yeah,
I understand this in the way that you guys are thinking about it. So I know it hasn't been done necessarily, but it is already codified in our rules procedure. So I don't really know if there's much to talk about with Cordell because it is already in here.
All right, well,
That's how I understand
as
it.
long as you were able to make a distinction between something where there hasn't been any discussion really of the
Yeah,
issue
yeah. I
versus one where we've just got too late at night and we want to continue it to the next time.
Yep.
Because I think that if somebody was seated and they never participated in any discussion, then, and they were an alternate, then we should, if we have a full member.
Yeah, that's a different.
That'd be
So
very easy.
I'll try to propose some language and have some options for you guys at the next meeting. Anything else?
For number,
For
I
anything
have
in
something
the
on 3. It says the disqualified members shall absent themselves from the board table during the public hearing and during all deliberation on the case. That's not to exclude the person who's been absent from the board table participating in the public hearing, but not in the discussion. So I think we've allowed the person who's recused themselves to say something during the public hearing, but not in the discussion. They just can't do it from the board table,
As a member of the public,
as a member of the public.
that should be their right to do that.
That's right.
Can you repeat that, Jay, please?
What I'm saying, Joe, is that if one of us recuses themselves,
We're a member of the
we're
public.
supposed to go and sit there, but we're a member of the public, and we should be able to participate in the public portion of that hearing
Absolutely.
and give our opinion.
Does it say that you can't?
No, it doesn't, but it doesn't say we can. It says they was absent themselves from the board table during the public hearing and during all deliberation on the case. It doesn't say you can't.
Oh,
The
okay.
question is whether or not it needs to be there.
I guess I would argue no, but I don't really have a horse in the race, because I would consider this to be the board table. And so if you absent yourself from the board table, I mean, we can add a quick sentence on the end of it to
I don't know
say-
if it's necessary. If we all, as members of the board, understand we can do that, then that it doesn't have to be codified, because we do become a member of the public, and the public is allowed to participate.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, we can't legally say you can't. But does anybody have any thoughts?
I see I don't see any harm in codifying it. If there's a
Yeah.
question, and if it were codified, there wouldn't be a question.
It's just the fact that you're always allowed to speak as a member of the public. And so saying that you can, it's kind of just, I don't want to get into the habit of stating just human rights, if that makes sense.
Well,
'Cause
it's also true that some of us might recuse ourselves and then not want to say anything.
Yeah,
And it might, we don't want to imply that we should say something, but. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, Adam. I'm open to lots of interpretations here.
I think under A, 3A, if the person, either the chair or the person that's recusing themselves, says that I'm going to be a member of the public in this public hearing now, I think that would address it. How do you put that?
Yeah, I am always hesitant to include things in these documents that are just, basic. I mean, you always have the right as a citizen of Swansea to come and make a comment as a member of the public, and we encourage that. But I do see the argument of having, I mean, there's no harm in having a sentence on the end of this. We can say something to the effect of, the recused member may speak as a member of the public on the application. There's no harm in it.
I think that might be fine. Just may, the word may is
Or
important.
retains the right to speak as a member
like
of the
that.
public.
Yeah,
During the public portion of the hearing, obviously you're not speaking during the deliberations.
No, that's why you say retains the right
Right.
as a member of the public.
Right.
it can't hurt, so that's the
Okay.
main thing, yeah. So let me put it in here, on the end of 3A. Any other comments on that section before we move on? Okay. Going to ex parte communication, no proposed changes to A, but there is an added section in B. And I put that in B just because that's where it made the most sense in my brain. If you don't agree, just let me know. We can change it. And this was brought up, this was a suggestion by a member of the public due to some recent events. And so I want to read it, and if it doesn't sound correct, or if you want any edits, or you want to delete it altogether, you just let me know. Happy to do that. So I'm proposing the following. Board members are not authorized to independently enter private property, conduct unplanned site visits, or engage in similar activities. Entry is permitted only with formal board approval or in strict adherence to affidavits signed during the application process.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What if I'm invited by my neighbor to go on their property and tell them whether or not this meets the zoning laws? I have to say, no, I can't do that? Is that would prohibit me from doing that?
It does say independently enter private
Independently,
property.
but that independently needs to be spelled out a little bit more carefully. That's my
I
comment.
think if you're being invited, though, you're not independently entering.
Understood, But I understand that, and I think you understand it based on why you put this in here. But it says entry is permitted only with the formal board approval. I'd say by invitation of the property owner or by board approval.
Yeah.
I stay right away from that.
I've
got people calling me about things and I point them to Adam.
Okay.
I don't want them coming into a meeting and saying, well, he said that.
That's fair.
You know.
Okay, well, that's a very good point.
I think what you're saying is a good point. I have been asked this by other people. Oh, you're on the zoning board, come look at my blah. And I have said, I am on the zoning board, I hear cases brought before us, but I don't make the rules.
Very good point.
The rules are made by the planning, the planning, they're submitted to the town, and the townspeople vote on them. That isn't up to me to tell you where your shed can be.
And your opinion doesn't carry any weight because it's
Right.
a single opinion, not the opinion of the board. So
So-
I think you're absolutely right. What we need to know is that we can't act for the board at any rate in time. That's
And
part of ex parte.
I don't think
Yeah.
we should. So if somebody asks you, even if they're friends of yours, and they say, oh, come look at my shed, I think we should say no and
Well,
tell,
I can come look at it, I won't talk about it.
right,
Yeah.
I'll come look at it.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
don't know about, okay.
I'll flag it. If does anybody have any edits?
I don't think that
Oh,
should be changed.
We're
I
talking
like
about
the way it is.
behavior, so yeah. I think
that it should be there, and I like that.
I like the idea of
And
having it
thanks,
there.
Wayne, and
It's good to remind
Just like
volunteers. You guys are
ex parte-
volunteers at the end of the day.
Just
so.
like ex parte communications, I think one of the things that members have often said and remind ourselves that we are acting in a quasi judicial capacity, meaning that we need to be, number one, looking out for the interests of the town also, so that we're behaving consistently. Just like the comments that Joe and Jay have made with the section before that, is we want to make sure that all of our meetings are conducted in a consistent manner.
and section D really does speak to what you're talking about.
Yes. So we'll leave it as is. As for now, I'm sure the full other board members might have comments on it, so I'll highlight it just to discuss again in the next meeting.
But I think the way it is fine,
Okay.
the more I think about it.
C and D, I left the same.
Again, I had a comment on B, which you sort of skipped over.
On what, B?
Excuse me?
On which one?
On what used to be B, now it's C. And this says, board members shall not seek input or advice from any source regarding the application outside of the public hearing process. We do that routinely. We do research prior to coming here.
This is true, because I'll go look at the tax cards, I'll go look at, and sometimes I've come into your office and asked to look at property files, because I have an interest in gathering information, so I
don't think that's seeking input or advice. I think that's just familiarizing.
Well, seeking input,
No, seeking
No.
input is asking somebody for what they think of it.
I see,
I disagree.
I agree with Adam. Input is where someone gives you something. If you're looking for information, you don't necessarily get that from a person, you can get that from a website or a,
Yeah, seeking input or advice is specifically asking somebody.
because the way you're looking at it, Joe, I couldn't even consult the zoning map. And I think that's,
Again, going back to the point that, to me, it's very consistent with the point that Ann made earlier. We're a judicial panel. We are acting as jurors. We should not be seeking testimony, information outside of analogously the courtroom. So as whether we parse the word input or not, I think that misses the boat that we should be making decisions only based on what's presented at the meeting.
I would
In the public-
advocate for changing the word input to testimony, and that would might do it for me.
Consultation from individuals or something
Yeah,
versus, because as and said, you know, we look at tax maps, I'll drive by a property if I'm in the area, you know.
Again, we should be making our decisions on what's presented at the hearing.
Yeah.
And if you're collecting information, input, whatever noun you want to apply to it, you're collecting information and making the decision.
And that's why sometimes we do site visits, because we want to go see it. as
So
part of
we
that.
should,
But I'm saying,
we do that as a group.
I'm,
so-
I'm saying that seeking input, like looking up the zoning rules, I mean, this would, you know, into your interpretation, Joe, I couldn't even check the zoning ordinance.
I don't know, so should I stop sending memos before meetings? Should I?
I think,
Because
I
it's
think we
the
can.
same argument.
No, not at all, because that's public information.
Well, so is.
No, it's gone out, it's gone out in support of the hearing versus me doing something independent of the board, independent of the public hearing format, and using that information in my decision-making process.
I can
It
see,
hasn't been presented in court. I'll continue to use that
Well, yeah.
that analogy.
Yeah.
I can see your argument about maybe drive-bys aren't really appropriate because it wasn't presented in court, but I don't see, if we're trying to understand what's being done on a property,
Yeah, I think we almost have to look, because one of the reasons for looking at a map is, property map in particular, is like, we recently had a case where the applicant's property was bisected. Part of it was business and part of it was residential, and he was in a pickle as far as where he could put his shed, or, his garage. So I don't know, should we spell out what's permitted and what's not?
but that, to speak to Joe's point, I'm trying to argue both sides here.
Yeah,
That was in the packet, though.
right, it was in the packet.
So,
So an ill-prepared packet could be not good for the applicant.
so what's our responsibility there? If, for instance, we think there's something not in the packet that should be, should we be talking to Adam about getting it in the packet before our meeting? That's why we're supposed to read the packet early. I'm just saying, is that what we're talking about here? Because Joe makes a good point, and that we're supposed to have what's in front of us and act like a court.
Right, we go out and, you know, like,
Yeah.
if I bought a drone so that I could look at someone's property, it was a detailed,
What is C actually getting at, though? C is getting at us go out and talking to a
Yes.
construction person.
So I think it's
I believe that's what it is.
verbal input or consultation or something like that. That's different from what Joe's talking about.
Yeah.
But I think that Joe's not clear that the word input doesn't apply to other things. I think that's what he's saying. So I would certainly go along with changing the word input to something else.
I do remember in a legal training, Jay, I think you were there, and Mike was there from the planning board. I do remember discussing this with one of the judges who presided over Supreme Court cases. And I mean, I'm confirming it with I'm cross-referencing with other towns' rules of procedure just to see what they do. And you are encouraged even to drive by and observe the property involved in pending cases. You just can't discuss it or trespass or engage with the abutters or applicants.
Yeah, okay, now let me think about that. You know, we're supposed to make our own minds up based on what we know and what we bring to the table. And sometimes that's, you know, sometimes we make our decisions based on how we feel the property is and this and that. And so if we have more individual knowledge than other members of the board, we may disagree with them or whatever. And so in that sense, our doing our homework, like driving by or looking at a map or something like that, wouldn't seem to be too bad in that context.
I can find the language specifically citing that because I do remember discussing it at a training, specifically with drive-bys. You're supposed to drive by a property and observe. And
Can we focus on C here? Which
Yeah.
I think the intent is, as Wayne says, is to talk about having conversations or getting something from another individual, a person,
In preparation.
in preparation.
Yeah, we can try to clarify.
If, the word input might be too vague, it should be more communication or advice from any other source. I mean, any other personal source? I mean,
If I was to go to John Noonan from Fieldstone and ask him about a case that's gonna come up in front of us, that's a no-no.
that's
Right.
another.
That's what this
Right,
addressed.
that's what that's all about, yeah.
That's
Or if I was to go to a septic company and say, hey, can they put a septic on that?
Or if you were to go
Can't
to
do
my
that.
neighbor and say, what do you think about what Jay's doing on his property?
Yeah, yeah.
That would be wrong.
Yeah, and that goes to what Joe's saying, is all of that should happen at the public hearing. where
Right.
it's-
Yep.
Everybody hears the same thing at the same time.
Right.
right.
Yep.
And that's also part of communication.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to go outside our,
Yeah, you can't legally stop somebody from driving by a property. I mean, that's impossible to,
What about you driving?
but if, but I'm not gonna pick Ann up and the two of us are gonna go buy the property
exactly.
together. That's not-
Individually, you are permitted to, we live in a small town. I mean, you guys know where everything is.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And now that I have a drone, I know a lot more.
Well, don't do the drone. Don't do the drone. I flagged it.
But I think it really should speak primarily to the communication we have with other people.
Yeah.
And then if you want to add something about what our responsibilities are for information or gathering on our own individually.
Yep, I have language, but I don't have time to go through it all. So,
Okay.
I highlighted specifically input and then maybe clarifying what exactly that means in the context.
And when it says any source, Adam, you want to make that pretty clear too. Isn't that a person, not a source?
Well, I mean, if you're asking for advice, then,
If
think
I'm
it's
asking for input or advice, I'm usually talking about a person, aren't I?
Yeah.
But input could be from some AI.
nowadays, yeah. So I flagged it and then we can revisit it.
Are we helping you out?
I think so.
I think so.
Nope, I'm good. Okay, so D, I'm not suggesting anything for D. I am suggesting some things for 5, mainly adding a couple orders of business here. So the new list would go roll call by clerk, minutes of previous meeting.
Not clerk.
Oh, yes, let me highlight that. Recording secretary.
I have one comment on this.
Yep.
If we have more than one public hearing, it's good practice to seat a different alternate if we have them for each one. So I think the seating of alternates should happen when the public hearing is opened. And so you say public hearings, but I think the minutes of the previous meeting, then you open a public hearing, and then you seat alternates and talk about regional impact vote and so on. And then you might have another public hearing if necessary.
Yeah, I mean, we typically do regional impact at the top, just, if anything.
If
rises.
anything, for the whole event. So
Yeah.
let's move that up above after minutes and then go to public hearings and then
And then seating.
for each public hearing, we seat alternates and then go forward.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
Because that way, if we have 2 alternates show up, we don't have one of them sit there while the other one works on both cases.
So seating of alternates and then before each public hearing. Yeah, I'll work
Yeah.
on that.
I'm a little confused. Where is regional impact in that order?
That would be after the minutes, because the regional impact appears to, you say, is anything in our agenda rise to the level of regional impact?
So it's anything and not a specific hearing.
Right, it could be,
Okay,
if we say,
I'm fine.
3 cases.
saying
I
hearing
would
one
think you
does,
want
but
the alternate seated before that, though, because you may not have enough voting members present. to do
I would think you would do regional impact per hearing.
okay,
That's not the way
Rather
we've
than
done
do
it.
it
We
in
can't.
mass.
let's do it that way, because
Yeah.
that, as Wayne said, we may want the alternates present so we can have a vote.
Yeah, because you may not have enough people.
Yep,
Well, even beyond that, no, the regional impact should be regarding a particular case not the agenda in total.
Well, we have done that in the past. We've lumped them all together because most of the time we don't have any regional impact, but you're right, Joe, you're right.
So, roll call by recording secretary, minutes of previous meeting, public hearings, regional impact vote. I'll adjust this so it says before each public hearing. Seating of alternates before each public hearing. Unfinished business, new business, communications and miscellaneous, and adjournments.
The alternates need to be seated for the minutes to be approved, ever?
No, because they can vote outside the public hearings, so they can vote on the minutes as an alternate. Any other comments on the order? Okay, no changes suggested for 6 or 6A. Any comments on 6 or 6A? Okay, moving along to applications. I don't have much until we get to public notice. So does anybody have anything for applications and decisions?
If you're happy with the way that works for you, I think we're probably good with it.
I'm fine with it, yeah. Any comments on that before we move on?
Did we clean up the prior, one of the prior cases before you were here, Adam? There was a developer in town, I think it was the Route 32 condominiums next to the fire station. They came in and they missed the date by a couple of weeks, and Sarah was here at the time, and I questioned Sarah on it. I said, they missed the date. And she said, well, it wasn't clearly spelled out in the application that they had to use that date. Now, this guy's a realtor developer. He knows, but he had some, I guess he had some personal issues too. So she straightened it out by changing the application. So
I don't do any of that. I'm pretty strict. It's always 3 weeks before, right? Hold on. Yeah, it's always 3 weeks by 1 p.m.
okay, I think this was an extension
Oh, if it was
of this 2-year.
Oh, I don't play around with that. If it's past the date, I can bring it to the board for discussion, but I'm usually telling the applicant they missed the deadline. They have to reapply.
You answered my question.
And that's more procedures for your office than it is.
Yeah,
for us.
mainly just because, it's pretty clearly laid out. If the 30th day falls on a Saturday, Sunday, or town holiday, the appeal should be. So I'm pretty strict with that. If the board wants to discuss it, though, I'm happy to discuss. I don't think we can have any leeway about that, though, without making some. Well, I don't know, actually. I'd have to research that more if we want to discuss that more.
When you have a case like that, you need to research it, but I don't know if there's reason to do it beforehand.
No, I'm not aware of anything coming up. I mean, we have a couple projects that haven't started that need to extend, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
And that we don't do that, the planning board does, right?
It depends.
Do we have any pending zoning? We haven't, we've closed all our hearings, but
Yep, no, but if, so for instance, if a variance hasn't,
oh, right,
hasn't
the
developed.
variance does expire,
Yeah, the variance does expire, if not acted upon. So
but that means, of course, they have to reapply, that's all that means.
They do have the
Can't
option
reapply.
for a
They can't
30 day.
reapply, right? That's right, they can't.
No, they do have the option to extend by 30 days. They only can't reapply if they were denied. But if they were approved and let it lapse, they can reapply.
So they can reapply for an extension of the variance?
They can ask
apply
for-
for an extension of the variance?
Yep, so our application procedures for variance are for good cause, 30-day notice, you can extend for a year. So it's a 2-year approval period with the option to extend an additional year. And it's the same for special exceptions.
Right,
Yep.
okay. So, and that's spelled out somewhere in here?
Appeals from administrative decisions. Let me look.
Who hears that request for extension?
They email the planning office and then we bring it to the zoning board.
So the zoning board is making the decision on.
Oh, yeah. Yep, the zoning board's making the decision.
Okay.
If they miss the deadline, then you guys won't even see it. because they missed the deadline, and so.
But if if there's a few days short of the deadline, they know they can't make it, then they have the option to come, or they have to be,
Oh, yeah, they can just come to a meeting.
now, in some cases, get an extension, say, from the planning board, don't they have to do it before 30 days? So they can't do it in the last 2 days, they have to do it 30 days prior to when it expires.
You really want to work on it like 2 months before
Yeah.
the 30-day deadline.
So what I'm saying is that same deadline apply to the zoning board for variance extension?
I'm pretty sure. We can expand this section
I think
more clearly later.
you might want to put that in this section.
I think it's in the application.
Oh, okay, well,
Or the ordinance. It might be in the ordinance. If that's the case, then it's pretty easily. Sorry, let me look and just make sure. Oh, there it is, okay. So we do have language in the ordinance. It looks the same for special exception and variance. This is in section 12. I'm just going to read it just so we know. A variance shall expire if the use is not substantially acted upon within or ceases for more than 2 years. For use not substantially acted upon within 2 years, a one-time, one-year extension may be granted upon application to the Zoning Board of Adjustment for good cause shown. Application for extension must be filed with the Land Use Office not later than 30 days prior to the expiration of the original approval.
page 79, yeah.
So it is already in our zoning
Yep,
ordinance.
so we don't need it there.
Yep,
Yep,
best place for it.
yep.
Any comments before we move to public notice? Okay, public notice A. Joe, I think you had something on A. Otherwise, I don't have anything till B. Joe, I think your question was regarding the Sentinel
Right.
Postings.
Do we still post in the Sentinel? And if we do, why?
That's a good question.
Are there other towns that have maybe stopped doing it in some of the, I mean, what does Concord do? Manchester, the Union Leader, Concord Monitor?
I think they do. I haven't checked.
Because I don't know what, I'm not dissing the Sentinel, but, you know, I'm not paying $300 to read the paper, so.
Yep, so it's typically, the price for a posting that the applicant pays is anywhere between $60 and $80, depending on the length.
Is there a burden?
It's the public record, though, it's the public record that we have available. I mean, is there another alternative? I don't know.
I've always been in favor of getting rid of it, but I'm not gonna touch it, just because I feel like I'm not in the demographic that reads the paper, but I feel like a lot of the area might be. And I know that their readership is still pretty strong, so it's a good way to distribute
Well,
information.
I mean, if somebody has a question about something, they can always check the Sentinel, because it's,
Yeah.
you know, they can check the archived versions of the Sentinel too, so.
Yep.
It's a way of, it is as I said, a public record that can be checked.
So that makes informing the abutters all the more important, because some people don't read the Sentinel.
Yeah, so we always inform abutters. Anybody across the street or stream is how the state defines it. And we post it the Saturday before the meeting in the Sentinel. That way the most people see it, hopefully. And then it's also on a notice board at Town Hall and at the post office.
And we have 2 post offices.
Both post offices.
Do we post on the town Facebook page or the town website?
Town
Just the
website, yes.
website.
No, not the Facebook page, but the website, yes.
Yeah. To me, and I'm not a user of Facebook, nor do I read the Sentinel, but to me, Facebook is the newspaper of today. So I guess I could argue, why not post on Facebook?
I will not touch Facebook with a 10-foot pole unless I have to. And if the board votes for, I guess we can, but I don't think anything productive comes off of Facebook.
Okay, let me ask the question differently then. What is the purpose, what are we trying to achieve by posting it?
Oh, just people, yeah, notification, so abutters will definitely know.
Well, the butters know through mail, so they don't really count in this discussion.
I think there are some state requirements, I think.
No, there are, no, these are state requirements.
Yeah.
Well, the state requirements are a little less strict. I think the state requirements are 2 public places plus the website. The state doesn't require paper in circulation if you have a website. So we are doing more than the state requires, which is fine. It's always good to do more when you can.
But again, I want to go back to my question of what's the purpose of posting it? Is it to satisfy a legal requirement? If so, continue to post it in the Sentinel. If it's to communicate broadly that this is going on, the Sentinel does not achieve that.
Nope. The website, so we always encourage people just to bookmark the public notices page on the website. Best place to stay up to notice. The agendas and the agendas and the packets go out a week before the meetings. So
what we're saying is that both the Sentinel and the website
and the boards.
and the abutters, we're trying to have as much communication as possible. So even if the Sentinel isn't the main way we reach people,
Yep.
it's one of the ways we reach people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, website, Sentinel, and then town hall notice board, and then the 2 other notice boards.
I guess I didn't get my question answered, so I guess I'll move on.
I am against posting on Facebook, but if the board feels differently, please let me know.
No, I don't feel differently. But what I'm saying is that
Back and forth.
we're trying to
Yeah,
get as
I
much
would say
communication
no.
out as possible about the hearing so that
We don't need
people
people
who are interested who aren't
discussing
abutters
the
might
upcoming
attend.
And I would, and again, I'm not
Oh, we
opposed to
can,
it either. I
actually,
would then
So I
argue
would say,
Yeah,
I
that
would
the best
say
way of
no.
notifying
Yeah,
them.
you have to
There
sign
were
up for it.
different
Right, so
forum.
that people could sign up.
Far more people are reading
Besides
Facebook
Facebook,
than are reading the Keene
People could
Sentinel.
log in from Facebook.
That's why I asked what we're
You
trying
can't
to
log
achieve.
back
If
in.
what you're trying to
Then
achieve
you're gonna run
is a
into
legal obligation,
Jack Franks.
continue to put it in the Sentinel.
I'm hearing you, Joe, but I'm not certain that Facebook is the best medium. Even though a lot of people read it, I'm not sure that the resulting comments and other things are at all
That's good to know.
worth it.
I'll give you an example. We had a petition of an item on Swanzey Lake that the state has to mediate. So a petition was submitted, we scheduled a public hearing. The state had the obligation of doing the public announcement, let me say. We had to notify the abutters, and we did that. The state published it on the state website, and no one's looking at that. And they published it in the Manchester Union Leader, and no one's looking at that. So the state clearly didn't care about communicating it. They were trying to satisfy a legal obligation.
Legal obligation.
That's why I sort of asked what our objective is. Is it a legal obligation, or do we truly want people to know and participate? And that, to me, drives what you do one way or another.
I think it's both. And so,
I think the Sentinel used to be a legal obligation, but now I think I
It's
heard
not.
Adam say it's optional.
It is, if you have a website. Our website does have the option to notify, I think it actually does have the option now to notify when you post something, but you have to check a box. So if I posted onto the website and I didn't hit the box at the very bottom, then it doesn't get noticed. Like, you don't get like a notification pop up.
Oh, so I could sign up for notifications.
You can sign up for notifications on the website, so when something's posted, it'll text you or email you. So that's how that works.
so the notification database that Kevin's been trying to come up for both emergency things and also for town communications, that could be another place to have events like this go. If we're signed up for it, if you're signed up for town notifications, then you would say, hey, the zoning board's meeting, welcome at night, and such is going to be discussed.
I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, we might eventually use that rather than Sentinel.
Yes, which is, it's a good reminder of why we should review this every year, because one year we might decide that we don't need the Sentinel.
Sure.
I've always been in favor of removing that requirement, but I still see I see the value still, because I have had people tell me that they've heard about it from the Sentinel, and I don't want to ignore those people.
And the other comment I'd make is that if I'm in a butter and I care very much about a particular thing, I'm likely to go on Facebook and let everybody else know about it.
Yeah, I see that with more contentious applications. If we have a particularly, if I'm expecting a large turnout, it'll make its way to Facebook, regardless of if we post it there or not.
So I would say that let's explore the idea of the notification system from the town. Apparently Keene sends them out all the time, and
I get emails all the time from Keith.
yeah, exactly, about statuses of meetings and stuff like that. So
Yep.
if we get to that point and we get a majority of the town signed up for it, then that might be a better way of communicating this than the paper. But until then, maybe we have to leave the paper in there.
Yeah, and again, it's why we should revisit this every year, just say, hey, how's our notification?
Because I'm really interested in having more communication with the town, and I think the
Yes.
email alerts are one way to do that.
Yeah, and again, they only get sent out if we check a box when we upload it, and that almost never happens. So good discussion. We will revisit that. I think I just want to highlight that just to, when we have a bigger board here.
Okay?
On B, I'm suggesting the following. Public hearing notice shall be made by certified mail to the applicant in all abutters not less than 5 days before the date of the hearing, not including the date of posting or the date of the hearing. I'm just rewriting it to be more clear, essentially. And that 5 days it's legal. It's in the RSAs, so we can't change that day. These always go out probably 14 days in advance, just because that's how I work.
But that also says it's really 7 days.
It is really 7
Start to
days.
finish of the process.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So those always go out before, that 5-day deadline or 7-day deadline hits. Again, usually it's 2 weeks before the meeting, just because that's how I work. And C, I am proposing the following. All associated application fees must be paid by the applicant prior to the public hearing. The board will not hear the application if fees have not been paid prior to the public hearing. Why did I get... Yeah, I think I just got rid of the cross-out text due to redundancies, as Sue put it.
Well, one says, it shall constitute valid grounds for the board to terminate further consideration, but it doesn't say, it doesn't say we will not hear the application.
I can't remember why I crossed that out, to be fair. So if we want to uncross out that last sentence, we can.
And there's also the business about denying appeal without hearing.
Denying...
Yeah, that's a little harsh.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but again, I forgot why
I like what you've written there, it's just that I think that it is a change in what's said.
It is. Failure to pay such costs shall constitute valid grounds for the board to terminate further consideration. I don't know, I think that's harsh, but if the board...
I would,
If we say we won't hear it, then we haven't given up further consideration, which is we won't hear it until it's paid.
right.
So we
I
can
think we
cross
just
out
make
deny.
those two sentences, the two sentences that you left
Yeah,
could actually be combined. Because you're just saying.
okay, yeah.
that the board will not hear an application if the fees have not been paid prior to the public hearing, and just leave it at that. So they, if they're not paying,
Well, yeah, if they're not paying, then you guys
if they're not
won't
paying,
see
it just comes off the, we'll
I
just
think
skip that month.
Ann's suggestion of combining those two sentences makes it shorter. So you say, all application fees must be paid by the applicant, or the board will not hear the application. Or the board will not hear the application if all application fees have not been paid prior to the public hearing. Just take the second sentence in that
Yep,
and say all application fees
or you
instead of
could just
fees.
say, yeah, the board, yeah.
Yeah, I'll highlight it.
Okay.
Any thoughts before we move on?
No.
All right, let me get this changed. I have nothing for public hearings, not this first page of public hearings. So any notes on public hearings? But I have nothing for any of the public hearing section. Okay, let's see here. Oh, no, it logged me out. Okay, there we go.
You know, there's the language that says, you know, the applicant shall be, in G, the applicant shall be called to present their appeal. It's not always an appeal they're presenting.
That's how it's worded, though. So when somebody...
So their appeal to the board for approval is what
Yep,
they're saying.
exactly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially what they're doing is appealing the ordinance.
Basically, everything that comes before us is an appeal.
Yep, exactly. Yep,
Got it.
that does
Okay.
trip me up. And, let's see here. Okay, anything before we get to decisions? Okay. I don't have any edits for decision.
So, Adam,
Yes.
does it say who writes those decisions? I mean, it's been the planning department that's written the decisions.
Yep.
So the board shall issue a final written decision, that's not an issue there, which either approves or disapproves the application. Does it say, well, it says, there are guidelines for what has to be in the decision, so, from state law, right? So you can't just say it was approved, disapproved, you have to say.
Conditions of
Conditions
approval.
or reasons that, that there should be more content than just yes or no in the,
Oh, yes,
And the written
there is much more content. So I'm happy.
and what that content is,
Mhm.
sometimes, in my feeling, has not adequately represented everything that the board used to base that decision on.
Yes.
So I don't know how that gets fixed or whatever, but, for instance, we have a debate and Wayne makes a very good point and it helps me decide how I want to vote or something like this. But that doesn't show up in the decision about, you know, this was denied because,
If it's a denial, we will be very, very clear, and we will list all reasons that were listed in the minutes, and then and if they weren't captured in the minutes, we will rewatch the video and make sure that those words are captured
I
as
would
well.
certainly hope so, and I trust you to do that. But in the past, there have been times when I felt that the decision made by the board wasn't adequately represented by
Yeah.
the decision itself.
I think in terms of, and approvals, I'm open to do this for both. I'm happy to send out notices of decision and tag the board.
I think it would be great if the board at least saw those decisions that were written.
Yeah.
In the past, we've made a decision and we've never seen the actual wordage that was gone out to the applicant.
Yep.
And I think that should be shared with the board, and then if there's an issue, one of us or all of us can address it.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is that the timeline is too tight, which is why it's not handled that way, but
Understood, but
we can
even
amend-
after the fact, it would be nice to know what was said.
yeah. Yeah, I can,
And so we
yeah, I
can,
do
we can
that.
chew you out, you know, it may
Yeah.
be too late to make a change, but we can chew you out if we don't like it.
Yeah, I'm happy to share they're in the property file too, so if you're ever curious about prior applications,
Yeah.
they'll be in the red folder.
I just have never understood why the board, having spent hours making a decision, never sees what's stated in that decision.
I understand that, yeah, actually, yeah, it's, I think Well, I'm following the procedures from others before me,
Oh, yes, you are.
which is
Because
never,
It's never happened before, and I've always wondered.
yep, and I think it makes sense.
Does everybody else feel that way? I don't know.
So.
I didn't know that, I didn't know they got a letter.
Oh, they get a letter. Yeah,
They-
they have to get a letter within 5 business days.
And sometimes that letter is the basis for court cases.
Unfortunately, that has been for one specifically, but we've rectified those issues at least. But I can BCC the board on all notices. There shouldn't be any issues with that.
BCCing the board on the notice that goes out, if you're sending it out by email to the applicant,
Yep, always.
BCCing the board on that would be great.
Yep. Yeah, we don't physically mail these anymore. It's always sent through email. We always confirm receipt.
Yeah, and you have a digital copy of it and record of it and all
And if they
that.
want printed copies, they can come in.
But I don't want to make more work for you. I just think that it would be great if we saw it, and if there was an issue that we could fix for later ones, then we would fix it.
That's not, it's not really creating any more work. Because it's just a simple, anytime I send out a notice, I'll just go to the BCC. I already have a contact list for zoning board, so I'll just type zoning board, it'll just go out to everybody.
Now, is that notice of decision signed by the board chair?
It's signed by me.
So the board chair doesn't even see it?
That's right. That's been an issue for me over the years.
I don't understand that.
So I'll BCC the boards. Again, I think it's a timeline issue.
It's in the
because-
minutes that the board has approved it, so it's not like it hasn't been
Yeah, but
indicated
there's
the board approved it.
specific language in
Right,
the notice of decision.
agreed.
I guess I'm ignoring the BCC. Why doesn't it go out on, is that true of the planning board also?
Yeah, this is how we do all the notices.
Wow.
It is not just a Swansea thing either. This is how we did it in Colorado too, just for instance.
Yeah.
I know it's like way on the other side of the country, but
No, I mean, I just think that if I spend a couple hours on one of these cases, I'd like to know the final product and make sure it agrees with what I think it should agree with. If it doesn't, then I want to fix it for another time, make sure that I say to you, Adam, be sure when you write this up, that you include such and such and such and such.
that's fine.
And
Absolutely.
that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
But again, no, and I support what you say, Jay, but I'm going beyond that. If I'm the board chair, this represents the work product of my board, not Adam's board as the planner. I was duly elected to represent the town of Swansea in reviewing and making these decisions.
So
If I'm the board chair, I want to be
So
seeing those and in fact signing those.
part of the reason that my job exists is to be a liaison between the board and the applicant. And so that's, again, this is how my position is operated for,
Should there be a process, should there be a discussion of what's going to be in this communication prior to the end of the meeting, and the board chair says, this is what I approve, this is what we approve as a board?
yep, it would have to be during the public hearing, I think.
Yes, it would have to be. But
So.
it wouldn't be during the public hearing, it would be part of our deliberations.
So typically, what I do is I take the conditions that were voted on, and those conditions then make it into the notice of decision.
Understood. And I trust you on this. It's just that I know that in the past, there's some things I know were discussed at the board meeting
Yeah.
that influenced certain members that didn't make it into at least one of these
I think
applications.
for denials, that's, the narrative is really important. And for denials, we attach the entirety of the minutes to the denial. And then we also post appeal instructions, request for rehearing instructions. So denial notices are actually a few pages long, just because we list all of the instructions for what to do next. But approvals, depending on the application, it's typically one page. Actually, I can,
Well, yeah, okay, so if
We
you
can
meet
go
all,
through it,
if you meet all the questions, then I would see it more for the denials than for the approvals. But I'm sorry to prolong this because I think we're getting tired of this, but
no, I think it's fine. Let me see if I have one from the zoning board recently. A lot of my recent ones are from planning board.
Well, we had some approvals the last meeting.
Yep, I'm trying to find the one from
And what's your time frame on that? What's your time?
5 business days,
5 business-
usually the next day, because if I let it go longer than that, then,
So it would be possible to run something by the board chair
yep, if they're responsive, yes.
if they're responsive.
Let me get this. I don't know if I can find this zoning board one right this second, but
That's a fine
Oh, here we
line
go.
for Adam to walk, because he
Yep.
can get us into legal, for us lay people, even though we're on the zoning board, to start giving him input, there's certain parameters I'm sure he follows.
I can't put in, there are some things narratively that I can't put in. So just for example, here's the notice of decision, which again is public record, so me stating any of this isn't violating anything. This is the notice of decision for Eversource when did we do this? April 23rd.
Right.
At its duly noticed public hearing on April 20th, 2026, the Zoning Board of Adjustment considered your application for special exception pursuant to Section 9 of the zoning ordinance to replace utility structures within the floodplain district along the A152 transmission line corridor. Following its deliberation, the board voted to approve the special exception request. You can find a copy of the draft minutes on our website no later than 5 business days after the meeting date, and I also attach it to the email that I sent to them. Please be advised that under RSA 677:2, any person or party to the action or proceedings of the Zoning Board of Adjustment may ask for a rehearing within 30 days of the date of decision that was made by the board. Special exception approval shall expire if it is not substantially acted upon within 2 years. For a special exception not substantially acted upon within 2 years, a one-time 1-year extension may be granted upon application to the zoning board for good cause shown 30 or more days prior to the expiration. And then if you have any questions, I can be reached at blah, by phone, blah, sincerely, blah. And then I also put on the very bottom I CC the code enforcement officer typically, and then I CC applicant representation, and then any other entities that might be interested in
And that's where
I would put you guys
that's where
as
all of
CC.
us should be CC.
Yep. The very bottom there, yeah. And then blind CC to the email as well.
And if
It's an easy addition. I can do this. No problem.
that's the easy part. Now, Joe's asking for the
Yeah.
chair to sign it, and I don't know how easy that is, because it's another level of commitment for the chair. They've got to be available.
Yeah, I think part of the trust that you guys need to have in me is that I represent the meeting accurately. And again, that's why
And
I
if
put the
you don't,
meeting minutes
we'll
out
get after
there. Well, if I don't, then we're in trouble, and that's happened before, as you said. Which is why application timelines are in there, approval dates are in there, any RSA notations are in there. Conditions are listed as they were stated in the video and in the minutes. So we can only include the information, and I'm only talking about approvals, because disapprovals are completely different. When you approve an application, you're really only permitted to put the motion of approval.
I don't have any trouble with the approvals. It's the disapprovals where we might get,
The disapprovals I can bring you an example out at the next meeting for a disapproval.
I'm
notice.
not too worried about it. I like that. I'm just trying to be sensitive to Joe's comment about good practice here. And you say it's not done anywhere else,
Well, not that I know of. I mean, I'm sure it is done somewhere else, but
but it's also,
Oh, in other towns?
yeah,
It's clearly done in other towns.
yeah.
My opinion is I haven't read, I didn't know you sent them out.
yep, it's a legal requirement.
And, okay, and, I wouldn't read them, so I don't think we need them. Based on what you said, I think it comes down to, if the ones that are denied, maybe those get some further review by us.
I think it'd be great for closure to have them. We don't have to read them. They're in our mailbox. We have them. We can ignore them if we want.
Yep.
I certainly wouldn't want to read all the extra stuff about what the applicant has to do for appealing. and
Right, the meat and potatoes of
I
it.
just want to read the statement. That's all I care about, is the statement that went out to them.
Yep, yeah.
Because if we miss something, then we ought to think about how we can fix that another time.
Yeah, and so what's great about making a motion for denial is that you have to clearly state reason, or everybody has to clearly state a reason and come to a consensus as to why. And that is word for word in the notice.
If that can be captured word for word, and I trust you to be able to do
It
that.
has to
then
be
that's-
word for word, yeah.
Then that's fine,
Yep.
from my point of view.
But again, easy to attach, the board. And I don't think there's any harm to come of it, so.
And I can just eliminate it if
You
you
can
don't want
ignore
to.
it if you want to. But I'm happy to CC the board, or BCC the board on communication. I think the planning board wants that too, to be honest, so I'm just gonna start doing it.
I think you should.
Yeah.
And then if it becomes a situation where some chair on the board in the future wants to be involved in the process, then we can look at that.
I think that's her right, so. Decisions, so, any other notes on decisions? Let's move on to requests for rehearings. Anything on requests for rehearings? I don't think I have any proposed changes.
Not necessarily a change to what's written here, but we certainly didn't behave this way on the one rehearing that I was involved with.
Oh,
And
let's
that
see
was
here.
the big building that was objected to after the fact by, I think, Sean Drower. And there was a whole bunch of communication regarding the rehearing in the meeting minutes, in the notice for the meeting. So there was input and comments from the applicant and the public prior to that rehearing.
I guess I'll need specifics because I don't understand the public.
Joe may be referring to a case where, I'm not sure if I remember it correctly, but one member of our board, I think it was Joe, was seated for the original hearing, but not seated for the rehearing.
No, it had nothing to do with
No?
who was seated, just reading the minutes. It was a large building, I think they were going to use it as a,
This Katie Lane.
It was Katie Lane.
was it? No.
They're building a dog training facility.
Right, as I was going to say a horse, but a dog training. And that someone asked for a rehearing, and there was a whole bunch of communications for or against that rehearing in the meeting, in the notice, the packet that went out.
Oh, I remember, yeah,
And
so
that seems to be contrary to number 2.
I specifically asked the board to disregard those comments because I had put that into the packet before consulting with the rules of procedure. So then I do remember sending out communication to disregard all comments received.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
You know what, we all make mistakes sometimes and it won't happen again. But I do remember addressing that at the time.
Well, it was the only one I was involved in, so,
That was the attachments with the attorney.
yeah, there was
Yeah,
attorney
it-
communication, it was.
It's hard when you have two attorneys on either side yelling at you and telling you to add this and add this. And
Yeah.
your instinct is to listen to them, but don't always trust your instinct in that case.
Yep.
No, but Joe is correct. You're not permitted to have any comments from the applicant, agent, or the public. And especially, so before the meeting and especially at the meeting, it really is a meeting with just the board deliberating on the merits of the submitted materials.
And the submitted materials are different from testimony from other people.
Yep.
But the lawyers submitting the materials could give a legal case of why this should be,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. When they submit their request for rehearing, they do have to state reasons as to why they're requesting the rehearing.
Yep, okay.
But no, but Joe is correct. I don't have any changes because, I mean, that is the procedure we should be following. The only change I have under miscellaneous is to cross out records because there's just no reason to have that. It just goes right into the records of the board shall be kept.
But number 3, you leave the title amendments in there.
I know, I should have crossed that out too. And probably number 2 and 3 as well. Because you just don't need.
So, you
preamble.
just change 3 to, instead of these rules of procedure may be amended, you say amendments to these rules of procedure may be
To these rules, yeah.
conducted by a majority vote of the board, or something like that. Yeah.
One other, and it's real nit, Jermaine is spelled wrong in bullet 1 under rehearing.
Oh,
Under
and rehearing?
rehearing.
Yeah.
Bullet 1.
I think I wanted to change that word
Well, at
anyway.
least the version that I did my work on, it was spelled wrong. Again, it's a nit.
I think I changed it actually,
Okay.
because it's not in here. I must have forgotten to highlight it. Oh yeah, Joe, I got rid of that already, because that
Okay.
bothered me.
I don't see Jermaine in here.
Oh God, where was it? I'll have to cross-reference with
The
the
end
old
of,
version.
well, it's changed, because it's not even there.
Adam caught it.
Well, no, he changed the sentence.
Let me go through the old one and properly note it on the changes.
Yeah, this just reads materials relevant to the application, and it used to read other material germane to the application.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
And it was spelled wrong.
It was spelled wrong,
But
but
relevant spelled right, so we're all set.
again, I was going based on what I did on the version I did my work on.
Yep.
And then this is signed. Yeah, okay, I think that covers it. Does anybody have any closing thoughts?
The outline, the flow chart here, this is the final version.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. That flow chart turned into a way bigger mess than I intended, so if we
So-
want to nix it, we can just get rid of it.
Well,
I like the
just,
flow chart.
just
Oh,
going
it's
to
good.
what we talked about in terms of seating of alternates and regional impact.
Oh,
happening
yeah.
After the public hearing.
Yep.
So that would be,
That would need to change too.
yeah, and you can do that pretty easily.
Yes. Okay. All right, good discussion. It'll be a better discussion once we have the other half of the board here too, I think. So if you guys want, we can table it again for next meeting and discuss some more. Hopefully, we'll have some more board members present and then get a public hearing rolling.
Well, we have just one elected person who isn't present tonight.
So we can schedule a public hearing for July if we want. Or we can have another,
I think we should schedule a public hearing in July, and hopefully
so
there'll be enough of us who've
July
read this.
20.
You're gonna revise it, so, you know, we're gonna make sure you did all the things. you're
I'll have a
supposed
clean
to.
copy. I might do a side-by-side, because that seems to be helpful. Hearing on rules.
Why not just use track changes?
It's just mainly for viewing in a PDF. Track changes on PDFs look kind of messy.
Side by side looks really good. You just have to bring your magnifying glass.
Use track changes in Word.
I have to post it as a PDF.
Excuse me?
I have to post it as a PDF. I think you can track changes on PDF, but it doesn't read very cleanly.
That's why I suggest doing it.
Did you have an answer for hands, the virtual?
Needing to be present? No, not yet. So I'll get clarification on virtual attendance at our next meeting. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, and that is that they can't vote, but I will follow up.
We haven't had many instances where somebody who's on remote.
Yeah, we stopped using Zoom anyway, so
You have, okay,
Yep, so we only, we live broadcast on YouTube and Facebook now.
okay.
So what that means is somebody could, somebody who's watching on live,
Yeah,
how can they ask a question?
We have to type it in.
I don't think we're monitoring it is the problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
So.
Well, then I retract my question then, because we're not going to have enough code.
I think, so I do try to get the word out and write in comments or attend the meeting. Any comment presented to me prior to the meeting is always read. Let me check the YouTube. There is nothing on the YouTube now. I can probably just have the YouTube open on my computer during the meeting.
It just somebody on YouTube, how does somebody on YouTube interact with you?
They don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see the problem, yes.
So we're done for this evening, so
I would say we're done with that portion.
we would make a motion to adjourn.
Really quick, does anybody have any thoughts about the zoning board audit that I can pass on to Sarah?
I don't have the bandwidth for it right now.
Okay. If you,
It was a good start.
if you have anything, email it to me, please, because it has to go through me, and then I present it to Sarah.
Right.
So just shoot me everything you got, I'll send it over to her, unedited and unfiltered.
I don't have much more to add than what we did. You noticed the members of the zoning board spoke up a lot during that.
Absolutely, I'm happy that both the zoning board and planning board were out in full force, so I appreciate that. I think you guys are the ones who work with it the most, so glad you were there. I think that covers the agenda, thank you guys.
Okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn the zoning board meeting.
Second?
All in favor?